Hello and welcome to round 9 of the Spec F1 Esports PS4 Pacific Series Tier 1 League for the Austrian Grand Prix. My name is Expert and I'll be your commentator for tonight's race. The Red Bull Ring has been the home of the Austrian Grand Prix for the past 50 years and has proved to have some really good racing around the circuit in the past years. The 4.318 kilometer circuit has a total of 8 corners with 2 corners to the left and 6 to the right. It doesn't seem like a very complex track, but it's definitely one to not take lightly, as managing ERS and fuel around here isn't the easiest thing, considering a lot of it the majority of the track are straight, so that'll definitely be one talking point to watch out for this afternoon. But let's have a quick look at your championship standings. As you can see, Zach Crichton currently leads the way at the moment, 123 points. He currently sits on 37 points, separate himself and the Williams of Todser, who had a really good showing at the last round at the French Grand Prix, so he did a very good job. Did Todser, 40-22. So X Revolution sits in P3 now with for McLaren. Unfortunately, he's missed a few races. I do believe that is 4 now he has missed, so unfortunately for him, he's dropped down a couple positions positions, but he's doing alright still to be in third. Then it'll be 40-22 for Ferrari in fourth, ahead of Aaron, Spilly, Plebs, Jay Schmidt, Swaggy, and Ranier. Top 10 will be Crossy F1 for Ferrari, ahead of VSR Rosquam in the Williams in 11th, High Contrast 12th, 13th, Curving Texas, ahead of Romeo Alonso, BKXI in P15, ahead of NBC Alcatraz, Banana Cake Pie, Toes Rudy, Shumbo, Dr. Dre, Ghost 01 GT, and Gaming Burger rounds out your top 22, ahead of Tao Zefti and his teammate of F1 Hawk. Let's have a quick look now at your constructor standings, as I can see the drivers are now heading out to their qualifying session. It looks like Racing Point currently lead the way at the moment, only by a couple of points. 3 points separate those two. So 2 points rather, my maths isn't really good at the moment. Ferrari sit in P3 ahead of the Williams team in 4th. McLaren sit in P5 ahead of Red Bull, Renault, Alfa Romeo, Toro Rosso, and the Haas F1 team, who have only managed to get 1 point so far in this series. So hopefully they can change that around here at the Austrian Grand Prix. But I can see now the drivers are heading out to their qualifying session. Let me know in the live chat real quick your predictions for the qualifying session. Welcome everyone to the chat as well. Banana Cake Pie, Alcatraz, Master Mike, thank you guys so much for joining the stream. If you guys aren't around here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you get notified when the stream does go live. But 16 minutes and 35 seconds remain in the session for the drivers to set the fastest possible lap time around this Red Bull ring. Bring up some telemetry for you. It looks like a couple of drivers have started their lap. Actually, looks like, is that F1 Hawk? No, it's his teammate actually, but we're going to ride on board with Swag because he looks like he's second in line at the moment to be setting a lap. This is going to be a bit painful for them because they are going to come up to traffic, which has been proven to be a bit of an issue in real F1 as well. This track is so short, and unfortunately for Swag, he's already invalidated on his lap time. Just cutting that turn once you came a little bit down. Unfortunately for him, he's going to not get his first lap done, and it looks like who's that? That looks like it's 40 who just went past him. He's heading into turn 2 now. Is the Ferrari driver. Very easy to lose a rear, especially on traction heading through there as he now opens the RS. He's actually invalidated his lap time as well, so a couple of drivers really struggling at the moment with that turn 1 corner. Looks like Toes Rudy's starting a lap. Let's see what happens with him as he comes up to turn 1. It's also very easy to run it wide. He's run a little bit wide there. If you touch that outside sausage curb, it's very easy to throw the car offline and also invalidate your lap time. So we will see most likely a couple penalties here this afternoon in the Grand Prix, but he now heads into turn 2. Goes the Toro Rosso driver of Toes Rudy. As he now heads down the second straight into turn 3, he's about to head on a break just between the Rolex banner or board and the 100-meter board. He gets a turn nicely there, does Toes Rudy. This has been a pretty clean lap from him. Todster goes to pole position now with a 1 minute 4.498 ahead of his teammate Pure Gold. But now Aaron goes to pole position with a 1 minute 4.498. So very tight at the moment between our top 4, as Zach Crichton now goes pole position with a 1 minute 4.440. So very tight at the moment between our top 3, and there's only been 5 drivers that have set a lap, them being Zach, Aaron, Todster, Pure Gold, and Dr. Dre. But it looks like Toes Rudy's going to be the next one to set a lap time as he comes up to the line. Goes the Toro Rosso driver. He goes into P4 now ahead of his teammate and Pure Gold with a 1 minute 5.0. Pretty solid banker lap so far. We'll have to see what time the drivers end up doing in the end. But as you can see, the top 6 at the moment have all opted to use the soft compounder tyre. Romeo Alonso in P7 ahead of a new driver of Servanite. He is one of our reserves, if I do believe so. He will be taking the Renault spot for Curving Texas this afternoon. He currently sits at the bottom of the drivers that have set a lap. He is currently sitting on a 1 minute 6.384. Obviously on that medium tyre though, so that could have affected him a little bit. Welcome to the stream, everyone, as well. Silly, bro, I've been practicing the wrong track, unfortunately. That's unfortunate. I was doing Belgium. Yeah, I saw you doing Belgium before. I was going to say, thought you'd be doing Austria, but anyway. Oh, and you applied your Belgium setup. Oh, so that's going to be unfortunate. That's unfortunate. The Spilly, he's going to be running 0 wings, pretty much. He's going to be 1.6 maybe. We'll have to see what he does. But anyway, that's unfortunate for him. Cronus reckons 40-22 will take pole position. We'll have to see what he does. But a couple of drivers have now set their lap times, and currently with 13 minutes remaining in the session, Zach Crichton sits on pole position at the moment. 6 100ths of a second separate himself and Aaron L3F4 in P2 in that Red Bull car, ahead of Swaggy 291 in third with a 1 minute 4.5, ahead of Todd's up with a 1 minute 4.5, Toes Rudy with a 1 minute 4. Okay, I've been saying this wrong. A 1 minute. Actually, no, I said those right. Toes Rudy, a 1 minute 5.0. And Pure Gold's a 1 minute 5.1, ahead of Dr. Dre, Extra Evolution, who's now just slotted into P8 as well for McLaren. P9 will be Romeo Alonso, and rounding out your top 10 will be the Racing Point driver of XXJ Schmidt. Banana Cake Pie has only managed to get into P11 so far, ahead of Servanite in P12, who looks like he's on a lap now. He hasn't invalidated it this time, so he's going to come through the final sector now. Goes Servanite into turn 7. He'll be heading under the Fanatec board. Very hard to spot your apex here, especially if you're using cockpit cam. But he now heads into the final corner. Goes the Renault driver. What time is he going to be able to set? He runs a little bit wide on the exit of the final corner. Manages to keep it on track. What time does he do? He doesn't actually improve there by the looks of it. So he's going to be sitting back down in P13. We're still waiting on F1 Hawk, BK, Tau, Plebs, 4022, Zeffy and Crossy to all set a lap. It looks like Crossy is exiting the pit lane now. Zeffy's going to come up to the line. Where does he go? P5 now for Haas with a 1 minute 4.784. So he's going to slot in between the Williams of Todster and the Toro Rosso of Toes Rudy. Just looking very tight at the moment between our top 5. It's now 40-22. He goes to pole position with a 1 minute 4.358. So that's a little bit of an improvement to all the other drivers' times. As we just saw, Plebs also goes into P6 now for Renault with a 1 minute 4.591. So the top 11, I should say, have all opted to go onto that soft compound of tyre. So now we're waiting on F1 Hawk, BK, Tau, and Crossy. I think BK started a lap, but unfortunately for him, he did not. He may have invalidated his time, so now he's heading into turn 2. Goes the Mercedes driver. He is obviously on controller now, is BK. I do believe he used to race wheel, but unfortunately he's now swapped over to the pad. So we'll have to see what he's able to do. So now heads into turn 3. He's got a little bit of traffic in front of him. Hopefully that doesn't affect him. Runs it a little bit wide. He's got Plebs in front of him there in the Renault. Does get out of the way just as he now heads into turn 4 and 5. The only 2 corners that are left-handed around the Red Bull ring. Very easy to get on the gas a little bit too early or run a bit deep and just understeer the car wide. But he manages to keep it on track. Pretty clean first lap here so far from BK. He hasn't seemed to be pushing too hard with 10 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the session. Aaron goes even faster now with a 1 minute 4.153. So I thought, actually, so Zach's also improved, I should say. So BK goes in a P12, I should say. Finishes off with a 1 minute 5.2. But Aaron now goes to pole position with a 1 minute 4.1. And Zach also ticked off 40-22's time with a 1 minute 4.243. So very tight at the moment. Minimal errors around here will just get you up the order. So you need to carry as much speed through the corners just so you can get that straight line speed. I think it will also come down to how many wings people are running. I don't think there will be too much difference in between how many wings all the drivers are running. But this man currently sits on pole position with 9 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the session. Ahead of Zach Crichton, 40, Todster, Swaggy, Plebs, Crossy, Zeffy, and running in top 9 and 10 will be Pure Gold and Toes Rudy. Ahead of his teammate Dr. Dre, Extra Evolution, BKXI, Jay Schmidt, Spilly, Romeo Alonso, Banana Cake Pie, Servant Knight, F1 Hawk, and Very Lazy Tau, who are still waiting to set a lap. Tau looks like he did actually have a purple second sector there, but must have made a little error heading through turn 4 and 5. And he's backed out of this, so he was on for a good lap there, was the McLaren driver. He looks like he's going to try and go again here. As he now heads to the final corner, he struck it up into hot lap mode. Let's see what the McLaren driver can do. Has proven to be pretty quick in these leagues, but unfortunately just gets himself in a little bit of accidents. Unfortunately, he's made a little error there. Has Very Lazy Tau, but he's going to continue on with his lap. He's going to get a nice little tow here from his teammate of Extra Evolution as they now head into turn 3. I'm not too sure how much that would have helped him. He's 4 seconds up on his time, so he must have made a mistake pretty early on in the lap, but he's really struggling here, is Tau, with traction. As you saw him, he's all over the place on the exit of the corner, and that was the same with turn 1, but he now heads into turn 3, uses all the curb on entry, using the Esports line. As you've seen, he's still struggling there with rear traction ever so slightly. He's got to be a little bit more cautious on that gas pedal or lower his differential just to assist him. As you can see, he's right out sideways. His tyres are going to be getting really hot now, so this is not going to help him for the rest of the lap. You can see he's having to feather that throttle, got caught on the curve there, so it hasn't been the cleanest of laps so far from Very Lazy Towels. He now heads into turn 7 rather. He runs it really wide. Does he invalidate? He does, unfortunately for Tao. He's going to have to come back into the pits and put on a new set of tyres. It was a very scruffy lap there from the McLaren driver. So he's not going to be happy with that. Servanite's now set a lap as well. He's into P19. Sorry, well, he has set his lap. He's in P19 at the moment with the 1 minute 6.0. The last of the very representative drivers, so not all, that doesn't really make sense. The last of the drivers that have set a representative time. Tao obviously a fair few seconds off the pace at the moment because he has not set a very good lap as of yet. Aaron still sitting on pole position. It looks like he is coming out of the pits for his third run, I believe, on that soft tyre. So he's potentially opting for 4 runs in this qualifying session. Zach Cron isn't actually on a lap. He's heading through the middle sector now on his outlap. 40.22 is also on his outlap. He's behind the Mercedes car. Extra Evolution in the pit lane at the moment. Same with Romeo Alonso ahead of Toddster and Swaggy. So the 2 Alfa Romeos at the moment doing a pretty solid job. Currently sitting in P5 and 7. So the track's only going to get quicker as the session goes on. We're going to ride on board with 40 as he now starts his third run, I do believe. Actually, I think it may even be his second, but he now heads into turn 1, uses the Esports line, gets to that apex nicely, very clean through turn 1 there. Slowed it down a little bit too much, I do believe, but I can't really question him. I'm probably nowhere in the 1 minute 4s, but anyway, coming into turn 2 now, goes the Ferrari driver, gets a turn nicely, little bit of oversteer. He had to correct there on the exit of turn 2, but he still gets away with it. It won't cost him too much. Heading down the short straight, heading into turn 3, breaking between the Rolex board and 100 meter board, runs a little bit wide, doesn't get to that apex as much as he likes to. Very easy to spin the car up on the exit curve there. Manages to control that wheel spin though very nicely, does the Ferrari driver as he heads through the second sector. He will now tick over to the third sector. 9/100ths of a second he's up at the moment, so I do believe it's going to be tight between himself and Zach Crichton when they come towards the end of the lap. Zach is also on a lap as well, so we'll have to see if he's able to improve. Heads to the final corner now, does 40. Zach goes to pole position with a 1 minute 4.0. What can 40 do? He only manages P2 with a 1 minute 4.139, so it's very tight at the moment between our top 3 of Aaron, Zach, and 40.22. So Zach just narrowly missed out on that 1 minute 3 barrier. 5/1000ths of a second he needed to improve to get into, or be the only driver to get into the 1 minute 3s. 40 currently sitting in P2 at the moment, as we just witnessed his lap, a couple 100ths of a second ahead of Aaron L3F4, who I think may have just aborted his lap. I'm not too sure what happened there to the Red Bull drivers. Either he aborted or he just didn't improve on his time, but Extra Evolution still holding on to P4. Toddy looks like he's finished the lap as well. He's only managed to get into P5 ahead of Swaggy, who is now leading his teammate of Romeo Alonso in P7. But we're going to swap this over real quick to see the difference between our leaders at the moment. As you can see, 1 second separates our top 15. So that is very tight at the moment between all our drivers. As it looks like, who was that just went up? Plevs has just finished his lap. He goes up into P6 now with 4/10 off the pace at the moment with a 1 minute 4.430. So it's very tight at the moment between the drivers. Haven't seen any predictions in the chat. Actually, yes, we have. So, as I said before, Chronic's going for 40 for pole position. Master Mike reckons Zach has pole. Let me know some more in the chat. I will read them out on stream. Thank you guys so much for joining as well. As all the drivers will be coming into the pits now for another fresh set of tyres to put on for their final run in the qualifying session. Try and find a driver that potentially could be on a lap. It looks like BK's on a lap. He's currently down on his time though, so I think he's backed out of it. He has, so it's maybe an in lap for him. Trying to get back around so he can get another lap time in. Looks like Crossy's on a lap. He's heading through the final sector now. The Racing Point gets out of the way. Does he invalidate? He does. I say it looks like he was going to invalidate his time there, but unfortunately for him, he set a 1 minute 4.528, so he was going to improve up to P8. There was, sorry, what was it? 428. So he would have gone into P6 there. He would have jumped ahead of Plebs. So unfortunately for Crossy, invalidating through that, or heading into the final corner That's just cost him. So he's going to have to come all the way back around the pits to try and put a new set of tyres on. Banana Cake Pie is trying to get back around to the pits as well. Looks like Dr. Dre may have made a little error there through the final corner. He may have spun around, so he was on his outlap, but unfortunately for him, he has mucked that up. So I think he may have spun around through the final corner, has Dr. Dre, so he's going to have to come back to the pits. Actually, he won't get enough time, so he's going to try and save all his fuel in the ERS here to try and go again on that same set of soft tyre. As Servanite looks like he's starting his third lap, I do believe. He's got his time down to 1 minute 5.251. So now we're just waiting on Tao. I'm not too sure if he'll go out for another lap time. As now Servanite heads into turn 2. Runs very deep in the corner, just gets it pulled up. Opens the ERS now. Does the Renault driver. Not too sure how much he was up on his time. As he now heads into turn 3. Just gets a turn, a little bit of slide midway through the corner there. Just gets it pulled up, heading through this right-hander into turn 4 and 5. Sorry, 5 and 6, I should say. Is it? No, it is 4 and 5. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a mental blank right now. Yeah, I'm not too sure why, but anyway, he now heads into the penultimate corner and goes Servanite. Is he going to be able to improve on his time through the final corner? Does he invalidate? No, he keeps it on track. Crossing the line now goes Servanite. Only manages to jump up 1 position. 0.2 of a second there. Jumped him up only 1 position ahead of Dr. Dre, who I do believe will be starting another lap. Coming very soon, Dr. Dre isn't a lap, as you can see. Locks up heading into the hairpin. That's going to cost him ever so slightly down the straight. Doesn't manage a wheel spin as I think he would have liked to. As he now heads into turn 3, goes Andre, or Dr. Dre. A little bit of understeer in that Toro Rosso car, so that's going to hurt him a little bit down this short straight, but he now heads into turn 4 and 5. A lot of oversteer on exit there for Dr. Dre. This is probably not going to be the ideal lap for him. See if he does actually improve on his time though. As he now heads into the final sector, goes Andre, or Dr. Dre. Hasn't been the tidiest of laps, but will he be able to improve as he heads through the final corner? Runs it a little bit wide open. DRS nice and wide. Does he improve? He does improve, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to get ahead of Servanite or any other driver. So he's going to have to settle for P19 here. Is Dr. Dre. Towler's on his outlap, and so is Zach Crun. He's currently on a lap at the moment with the 40 seconds remaining in the session. 40 is on his outlap, as you can see. So what is Zach Crun going to be able to do? Gets a little bit of oversteer on the exit of turn 3 there with 30 seconds remaining in the session. Servanite has retired from the session, so he's going to have to settle for P18 or potentially worse. Zach heads through the middle sector. He's currently on provisional pole position, but 40 and Aaron will be looking to take that off him. So has he improved on his time as he now heads up to the penultimate corner? Goes the Mercedes driver, our current championship leader, gets a very nice turn in point there. Does the Mercedes driver through the final corner, uses all the exit curve. Does he improve? He does. A 1 minute 3.984. First of the drivers we have seen into the 1 minute 3 time. So will we be able to see Aaron or 40 take that away from him? 40 and Aaron are pretty close together, but we're going to ride on board with Aaron as he is the lead driver of them in that Red Bull car. He now heads into the second sector. As you can see, that's Dr. Dre just getting out of the way on that tour. On the turf, he had to resort to make sure he didn't retire. Sorry, or get in the way. My words at the moment are absolutely atrocious. But anyway, we're going to ride on board with Aaron as he continues or finishes his lap. He's currently down on his time, is Aaron, so he's going to have to try and find a little bit through this next sector. He was purple through the first sector, but he's lost it through that second sector. Will he be able to regain it all the back up? He's run a little bit wide through the penultimate corner. What's he going to be able to do? Final corner, he heads, comes up to the line. Will Aaron be able to improve? He does, but he only manages P2 with a 1 minute 4.103. What's 40 going to be able to do? He doesn't improve. That is 40, so he's going to have to settle for P3 in the Austrian Grand Prix qualifying session. So will any other drivers be able to improve? Billy comes up to the line. He doesn't improve. So who are we waiting on? It looks like we're just going to be waiting on Tao. And it looks like he's actually backed out of it here. So it looks like that will be your Spec F1 Esports PS4 Pacific Series Austrian Grand Prix qualifying session. Zach Crun will take pole position ahead of Aaron L3F4 in P2, ahead of 40.22. That will be your top 3 for your qualifying session. Beside 40.22 will be Extra Evolution ahead of Todd's the Pure Gold. So the two Williams doing a pretty solid job in P5 and 6. They'll be taking home some pretty solid constructors standings if they can continue that into the race. Swaggy, MP7 ahead of Plev, Spilly, Romeo Alonso, Toes Ready rounds out your top 11. Ahead of Crossy, Schmidt, BK, Zeffy. Banana Cake Pie will only manage 4P16. He won't be happy with that considering his teammate is all the way up MP2. But let's have a quick look here. Have a look. 9/10 of a second separate our top 17 at the moment. That is mega tight between all our drivers. So it's going to be a really, really tight race here this afternoon. F1 Hawk, as I said, only managed to get P17. P18 will be Servanite ahead of Andre. And unfortunately for Very Lazy Tower, he will be starting from the rear of the grid for McLaren. But I'm not sure to predict for the win because it's going to be that tight between all the drivers. So it can be anyone's race if you can just keep it on track, honestly, and minimize the amount of time penalties. I don't blame you, Spilly. Car feels horrible. Of course it does. I mean, it's not a bad time to be MP9 with a Belgium setup, but anyway, that has been, as you can see on your screens now, Zach Crichton took pole position, 1/10 of a second separate himself, and Aaron L3 F4, 40, MP3 ahead of Extra Evolution, Toddy, Pure Gold, Swaggy, Plev, Spilly, and Romeo Alonso round at your top 10. Ahead of Toes, Rudy, Crossy, Schmidt, BK, Zeffy, Banana Cake Pie, F1 Hawk, Server Knight, Dr. Dre, and Very Lazy Tower will round out your grid, but we will be back with you shortly for the Austrian Grand Prix. Stay tuned. As you can see on your screens now, the drivers are heading out for their formation lap. 36 laps the drivers will have to battle it out for the Austrian Grand Prix for round 9 of the Race Spec F1 Esports PS4 Pacific Series here in Spielberg. Let me know some predictions in the live chat as well. Thank you guys so much for joining the stream. I'm going to remind you real quick of your order from the qualifying position. Zach Crichton took pole position, but I need to point out as well, 1 second separated our top 17. So this is really going to be I reckon this will be one of the tightest races we've had in this series, but we'll have to see how that goes. Zach Crichton backing them all up now, but Zach Crichton did take pole position ahead of Aaron. He'll be starting alongside that Mercedes car. Will Aaron, 4022, will have the McLaren of Extra Evolution starting alongside him in P3 and 4. Toddster will have his teammate actually in P5 and P6, so he'll be starting alongside him. As you can see, Zach's backing him right up here. P7 will be Swaggy ahead of Plev, Spilly, Romeo Alonso, Toes, Rudy, Crossy, Jay Schmidt, BK, Zeffy, Banana Cake Pie, F1 Hawk, Servanite, and Dr. Dre will round out P19, and alongside him will be Very Lazy Town. You can see how slow Zach's actually going here. So he's really backed him up, has Zach Crichton, so he's making sure that he can keep as much heat in the tyres, because there's a very short lap around here, so he needs to have as much heat as possible at the beginning of the Grand Prix, so he's backed him right up. Spilly, so differential will, if you lower that, it will help you with off-corner acceleration, but it doesn't, it basically, I'm trying to think which way. Well, basically, the easiest way of explaining it will help you with acceleration, Spilly. So if you lower that, that will help you with acceleration. You won't lose traction as much, but there's another thing that it has to do with it, but we're going to now focus on the grid because the light sequence is now beginning for the Austrian Grand Prix. 5 red lights ahead of the drivers. And we are underway. It looks like Zach Ryan gets a pretty nice start, but so does Aaron. He's going to draw alongside him, heading into turn 1 now, the McLaren. Oh, that's Revolution trying to make it 3-1, and Zach trying to hang it around the outside. Aaron cuts the corner there, heading through turn 1 just to get the position. And it looks like Zach and himself are going to go side by side. This is a massive crash. Down the back, it looks like that's F1 Hawk and Dr. Dre, but anyway, they're going to continue now. There's a virtual safety car. Super early in this Grand Prix, and Aaron leads the way at the moment ahead of Zach Ryan. Next Revolution looks like he's got himself ahead of 40 into P3. Todd's the MP5 at the moment ahead of his teammate Pure Golden 6, Swaggy, Spilly, Plez, and Toes Rudy will round out your top 10, but we're going to get back here to see what's happened to the drivers. There was definitely a car spun round, and I think that was Romeo Alonso. Unfortunately for him, he's dropped down massive positions at the beginning of this Grand Prix. You see he's down 9 positions so far, and is F1 Hawk as the virtual safety car has now ended, so Aaron leads the way as they now head through the second sector ahead of Zach Crun. X Revolution rounds out your top 3 so far, so 40's lost a spot off the start, so has Zach Crun. So the 2 drivers on the second row of the grid have excelled off the start. They both gained themselves a position as they now head through the final sector and the final corner. They will now start lap 2 of 36 of the Austrian Grand Prix. The Red Bull Racing driver leads the way at the moment of Aaron, ahead of Zach, Revolution 40, and Todd rounds out your top 5, but as you can see how tight it is so far. Aaron's going to be using a lot of VRS here just to stay ahead of that Mercedes driver, but it's going to be also a little bit of a struggle here for Zach Crun because he's going to have to defend from X Revolution behind him as they now head through turn 2. Looks like no incidents so far heading through the hairpin, but it's going to be really tight between our drivers. If you can just stay within the slipstream, it looks like BK and Crossy are going to go at it as they now head into turn 3. I think BK just got himself ahead of that Ferrari driver. Zeffy looks like he's trying to make a move now on Toes Rudy. Does he get the move done? He doesn't actually. So Toes Rudy's going to hold on to P10 by the looks of it. Welcome everyone to the stream. As I said before, as you can see, Zach Crun and Aaron are trying to pull away here from that McLaren of X Revolution, but really, if you can just stay within the slipstream of the driver in front, you will be alright with your ERS and slipstream, and fuel will be much easier to maintain as Zach's pulling out to the right hand side of the track, just trying to get some clear air just to try and potentially cool the motor down a little bit in that Mercedes car. He seems to be struggling a little bit with overheating issues. Aaron's not going to really defend the inside line here by the looks of it, so Zach Crun's going to go into the lead of the Grand Prix on lap 3 of 36. So Aaron didn't make that too hard for the Mercedes driver, so they could potentially be working together here, trying to edge away. Aaron could think that Zach is a little bit quicker than him here, so they're going to try and edge away, and Aaron can just slot into the slipstream. And DRS of Zach Ryan as it is now available as they both lock up a little bit heading into turn 3, but X Revolution's right there trying to take any advantage that Aaron makes of Aaron's mistakes. 40 holding on to P4 at the moment for Ferrari ahead of Todster and his teammate in P5 and 6. Going to swap this over real quick as well to tyres so we can see what tyres everyone's opted to start on. So everyone besides Zeffy, Very Lazy Tail, Schmidt and F1 Hawk have all opted to go onto the soft tyre, and you see a really good save there from Pure Gold. Made a massive error heading into the final corner, and you can see now Swaggy's going to try and make a move heading into turn 1. What's the Alfa Romeo driver going to be able to do? Does he go down the inside? He does. He's going to get that move done pretty easily here. Is the Alfa Romeo driver. We're going to go back to the battle for the leaders. It looks like 40 now is going to try and get a move done on X Revolution heading into turn 3. The Ferrari has the inside line. He gets ahead of that McLaren driver, pushes him out wide, and into P3 now goes 40-22, and it looks like Pure Gold and Swaggy is still going out as they go side by side down into turn 2, and it looks like Pure Gold's going to hold on now. Spilly has now got himself into P7. He is obviously running a Belgium setup, so he's not going to be... Oh, I'm surprised that he's holding on to P7 at the moment, is Spilly, if he's telling the truth. But anyway, we'll have to see how it goes. And Zach Crine's made a little error here, so now Aaron's caught right back up to the rear of Zach Crine's gearbox as they now head through the final sector of lap 4 of 36. Lap time's very short around here. Zach seems to be struggling a little bit with rear grip. His Swaggy looks like he's the first driver to get a 3-second time penalty, and BK will be the second. So that's really not what you need. Pure Gold and Todster both just got themselves a 3-second time penalty. So for the Williams cars, they both just got them penalties, and now Aaron is going to be making another move here on Zach. What does Zach do? He's going to try and hang it around the outside. Is he? No, Aaron gets the move done. Is Zach going to try and battle it back? It looks like he is. He's dropped it back down to none, so he isn't actually trying to battle Aaron here. So they're swapping positions a little bit here, is Aaron and Zach Crun. And Zach really struggling here with braking, heading into that turn 3 corner. As we just saw. .40 still right there behind that Mercedes gearbox. Extra Evolution holding on to P4 ahead of Toddster, who has his teammate right behind him. Both these drivers have 3-second time penalties. Will we see a maneuver from Zach Crichton here? Or is he just going to try and save ERS? As you can see, Aaron has 70% ERS, so he won't be too stressed at the moment. Of Zach Crichton, who's currently sitting on 30%. They both run a little bit wide through turn 1. Is 40 close enough here to make a move on Zach? His DRS is now available, so will Zach try and make a move here on Aaron? He defends the inside line here, does Zach Crichton. He had to defend the position. 240 behind him. So it looks like 40 had a pretty nice run heading on the exit of turn 2, but so does Zach Crichton with that DRS assistant. I think Toes Rudy down in P11 is now having a little battle with Zeffy and Crossy. They're going to go side by side heading into turn 3. Who's going to get the move done? It looks like the Harsh Drive is deeper under brakes, but the Toro Rosso obviously has the inside line. Who's going to get the move done? It looks like Zeffy's going to hold on here for the battle of P11. And now Crossy's trying to go down the inside of the Toro Rosso driver. So Toes Rudy just lost 2 spots there by the looks of it to Crossy and Zeffy. So unfortunately for him, he's going to drop back down to P13. Dr. Dre and Tao have just swapped positions for P17. We're going to go back to this battle. It looks like 40's now run really wide, and unfortunately for him, he's going to drop a position to Extra Evolution. Did they make contact between the Ferrari and McLaren driver? Not too sure what happened there to them. They now head down this long straight into turn 2. On lap 7 of the Grand Prix, so 29 laps remain in the Austrian Grand Prix. As you can see how tight all the drivers are so far. Top 5 all separated by under 4 seconds. As it looks like Extra Evolution now is trying to make a move on Zach Crichton. He's going to go down the inside heading into turn 3. Does he get the move done? Little bit skirmish on the exit of the corner and wasn't able to put that traction or put the accelerator pedal down. So unfortunately for him, he's going to have to sit back behind Zach Crichton, and that's definitely going to heat his tyres up a little bit too much here. So 40's going to be right behind him as they now head into the final sectors. Yellow flag in sector 1. It looks like it's a Haas of F1 Hawk, but we're going to ride. We'll stay on board with our front leaders at the moment. As Extra Evolution really struggling at the moment with rear grip, as you can see. 40 also just got himself a 3-second time penalty. So did Swaggy. So Swaggy's already up to 6 seconds. Is the Alfa Romeo driver. Yellow flag in sector 3, I think, and maybe Servanite. We're going to stay on board with these drivers for the battle of the lead of the Grand Prix. As you can see, it's a complete slipstream fest. Will Zach Crichton make a move? Heading into the head, but he does. Aaron tries to defend the position, but wasn't able to do it. Zach locks up the inside front. Do they make contact there now? The McLaren driver is going to try and get the move done on Aaron as they head down the short straight. Zach's trying to give him a bit of slipstream here. Aaron goes over to the right hand side of the track, and now Aaron's going to go back down the inside of Zach Crichton heading into turn 3. He's going to get the move done. They make contact. Does Zach Crichton and Aaron. So could we see some potential front wing damage here from the Mercedes driver? Extra Evolution trying to hang it around the outside of Zach heading into turn 4. Does he get the move done? It's not the ideal place to get the move done, but now 40's trying to get back down the inside of the McLaren. Do they make contact? As Zach runs really wide on the exit, so Aaron's going to be edging a little bit of a gap here. What is Extra Evolution going to do? He's going to be down the inside, heading into the penultimate corner. What's he going to do? He's around the outside now. It's 40. What a move there on the McLaren driver. He gets himself up into the podium spots. Now does 40. He went around the outside of his rival of Extra Evolution, heading through that penultimate corner. What a move there from the Scuderia driver. Zach runs a little bit wide again, heading through that first turn. So will 40 be able to take advantage of that? Obviously, Zach still does have DRS on Aaron, who will be wanting to try and edge his gap as these two are battling. Sorry, 3 I should say. But as you can see, these guys battling are only going to edge the rest of the field up. As you can see, the top 8 at the moment are all pretty much in this battle. From Aaron L3R4 all the way back down to Plebs. as the drivers are currently on lap 9 of the Grand Prix. Aaron leads away ahead of Zach Crichton. 40-22 is right behind that gearbox. What's 40 going to be able to do? Zach's unfortunately not in the ideal spot at the moment. He's not as close as I think he would like to be to that Red Bull driver in front of him. You can see Zach's pretty much drifting that penultimate corner. And he did it again there, heading to the final corner. So he's really pushing at the moment, is the Mercedes driver. As they now head into turn 1, as you see Aaron didn't get the best of exits, nor did Zach. And you can see the amount of traction 40 just had it through that first turn. So 40 will be down the inside of his Mercedes rival. So now head into turn 3. 40's going to get the move done, and there's a retirement already from Very Lazy Towel. So unfortunately for him, he is retired on the exit of turn 3. Will we see a safety car in this Grand Prix? And Extra Evolution is now going to try and get ahead of Zach Crichton as they now head into turn 3. And then Zach's lost 2 spots in the space of 2 corners, and Extra Evolution had to lock up there to avoid hitting 40-22 in front of him. So now Zach just lost 2 spots in the space of 2 corners there. Unfortunately for him, he's going to be back down to P4. Todster and Pure Gold are right there as well. Spilly and Plevs are falling off that train a little bit. Plevs obviously needs to try and get ahead of Spilly. Spilly is on that Belgium setup, I need to point out as well. Unfortunately, did load the wrong setup, and now our race leader of Aaron L3F4 has just got himself a 3-second time penalty. But let's have a look here. Extra Evolution and Zach Crichton are into the pit lane, so these are the first drivers to blink or react. So what are they going to do here? They're trying to potentially do the undercut, as Extra Evolution has got himself a 5-second stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So the McLaren driver is going to have to serve that either in his next stop if he does one, or at the end of the Grand Prix. So unfortunately for him, he will have that 5-second penalty he will have to owe. So they do actually come out pretty separated, does Zach Crichton and Extra Evolution. Not too surprised though, because he did speed in the pit lane, did Extra Evolution. It didn't look like it, but unfortunately for him, that's going to cost him towards the end of the race. Will we see Aaron, 40, Toddy, Pure Gold, Plevs and Spilly reactors? Now the Renault driver's got ahead of the racing points. So Plevs now up into P5 for the Grand Prix. So we see some more drivers reacting. That's actually Thompson now into the gravel on the exit of turn 5. So he's going to wait for all of these drivers to get ahead of him. So unfortunately for Thompson, there's a safety car now for Todster. So this is going to work absolutely perfectly for Aaron, 40 and Pure Gold. Actually, not Pure Gold, because Pure Gold stayed out. So is Plevs. So unfortunately, they've just missed a very costly safety car here. So I do believe Aaron will come out in the lead of the Grand Prix. He will, so as you can see now, his teammate's going to be ahead of Aaron as well. So 40-22 will come out P2 ahead of Extra Evolution and Zach Crichton. So there it is. What's happening here? Banana Cake Pie and Zeffy look like they're swapping positions. So is Aaron. Trying to settle themselves. Zeffy nearly takes out Aaron there. So I'm not too sure what Zeffy's doing here. But now Zeffy's just lost a couple of spots while doing so. So he's going to drop back behind 40-22 now. So I'm not too sure. Did he have a little bit of a brake failure? Did Zeffy? But anyway, we'll have to see. I'm not too sure what's happened to him. But let's see what Plebs, Spilly and Pure Gold opt to do, because unfortunately for them, they've missed a safety car that really could have benefited them in this Grand Prix. It looks like Plebs is coming into the pits. Pure Gold, is he going to follow him in? He is. So what is Spilly going to do? He does follow him in as well. So Banana Cake Pie on that medium tyre will be leading the Grand Prix. I didn't think I'd be saying that considering where he started. But Banana Cake Pie will lead the Austrian Grand Prix ahead of his teammate Aaron L3F4 in P5. P6 will be 40-22, so that would be P4. I should say now 40 has spun round. He's gotten a little bit of an incident there with someone. Who was that? So 40's been put into the wall here. I'm not too sure it was behind him, but 40 just got put into the wall. I don't think it was lag. But who was that with? Was that with Extra Evolution? Trying to look at the front wing. 40 has damage on that Ferrari car. So I'm not too sure who he had contact. Was it with Zach Crichton? Doesn't look like. Oh, does Zach actually have a little bit of front wing damage here? I'm trying to. Need to swap positions. No, his front wing does look alright, so I'm not too sure who he made contact there with, but 40 will not be happy with that, and you can see it's Zeffy! Is that Zeffy? So Zeffy is taking people out here, so unfortunately, I'm not too sure what Zeffy's doing here. He's just taken 40 out, I do believe. Zeffy was all the way back down in P8, but he's just got himself back up into P3, so I think if I was a steward right now, I think Zeffy should be disqualified from the race, but he's just put 40 in the wall, I do believe. So I'm not too sure what's happening here. Will safety car be in this lap? Looks like it will be staying out for another lap. Carnage under the safety car. There's a little incidents on the safety car, so now 40's going to have to come into the pit lane. So Zeffy's going to be in a real bit of trouble at the moment. Pure Gold's got himself up into P5. So unfortunately for 40, he's going to drop all the way back down the order, down into P15, I do believe. So I do believe safety car will be in this lap. I'm honestly stunned here. I'm not sure what Zeffy's doing because I think he was the one that took out 40, I do believe, because they did make contact heading into here. It looked like 40 just ran into him. It's a little bit of a, hey, what are you doing? But 40 was down in P6, I remember, and he's just got himself back up into P3, so I'm not too sure what's happened there with the harsh driver. We'll have to let the stewards decide that. But at the moment, it's currently a Red Bull 1-2, so I don't think Aaron or Banana Cake Pie will be complaining because Zeffy and Pure Gold currently separate the two drivers that were looking like they were going to be in contention for the win here of Extra Evolution, and Zach Crime Plebs is right behind them as well. As safety car is now in this lap. Zach Crime is still an AI, so he's not supposed to be an AI, but Banana Cake Pie will control the pack at the moment. What will he do? Will he play any games here? Or will we see him actually try and swap positions with himself and Aaron L3F4, because Banana Cake Pie is on 13 lap old mediums at the moment. But he now goes, as you can see, Banana Cake Pie has got a pretty nice restart there. He's got 5/10 of a second separating himself and his teammate. He won't be under pressure heading into turn 1, but Aaron will be under pressure by Zeffy by the looks of it. And Banana Cake Pie looks like he made a little error there heading through turn 1. Extra Evolution now has a time penalty, and you can see Aaron is trying to slot back into the slipstream of his teammate, but Banana Cake Pie isn't playing any games here. It doesn't look like he's going to try and let his teammate go past, even though they are on different strategies. So the Bulls currently lead the way at their home Grand Prix. What is Aaron going to do? He's going to go to the inside line, so Banana Cake Pie doesn't fight it too much. He's deeper under brakes here. Here's Aaron, and now gets himself into the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix. Zeffy's going to be right there as well for Haas. What's he going to be able to do? He's currently on 14 lap old medium tyres. So is Banana Cake Pie. So I'm sure we'll see them in pretty soon, to be honest. Pure Gold now trying to get in the inside of Zeffy. So the Williams and the harsh driver make contact, and now Zeffy into the wall, heading into the pit lane. So I'm not too sure what's happened there, but unfortunately for Pure Gold, he's going to have to come into the pit lane and change his front wing. He kind of got forced in the pit lane, if anything. But now he's going to have to come in, and I do believe have to change his front wing, and now 40's just got himself a 3-second time penalty, I do believe, while trying to make a maneuver on Romy Alonso. So he's all the way back down in P14 at the moment. Extra Evolution and Plebs are making maneuvers now, as the McLaren looks like he's got ahead of Plebs as they now head into the third turn. Extra Evolution very deep under brakes, nearly makes contact there with Zeffy, just gets it pulled up. But it's the McLaren driver, and Plebs is going to have to settle for P6. 20 laps remaining in the Austrian Grand Prix. Very hectic beginning so far in this race, as it looks like Extra Evolution's catching up to the rear of Zeffy. As you can see, the dirty air effect Really didn't help him there heading through the penultimate corner. Runs it a little bit wide as that DRS has been re-enabled. But Banana Cake Pie has really helped his teammate here, because now Aaron has 2 seconds separating himself and Zach Crichton. So Banana doesn't get the best of runs off that corner. You can see Banana's going to defend the inside line. He's not going to give this position up to Zach Crichton, as they are battling really here. And they do actually ghost there, does Banana Cake Pie and Zach. So Banana down the inside on the Mercedes car, but Zach obviously has that fresh and medium tyre, so he will have the better traction, and he gets himself up into P2. But now he's got 3 seconds. He's got to try and make up between himself and Aaron. What's Banana going to do? Is he going to try and go back down the inside heading into turn 3? It doesn't look like it. So he's going to have to slot back into P3 now. Is Banana Cake Pie. He will have Extra Evolution next up behind him. In that McLaren ahead of Plebs and Zeffy. So that's the gap, as you can see, between Aaron and Zach Crichton. Aaron's heading through the penultimate corner, and Zach is now heading up to the penultimate corner right about now, as you can see. Plebs now got ahead of Zeffy as they're going to go side by side heading into the final corner. Who's going to have the inside line? And Plebs is spun round! Plebs now in that Renault is spun round. Did he make contact with the wall and lose his front wing? It doesn't look like it. He's still going, but did he make contact there with Zeffy? So now, unfortunately for Plebs, he's dropped outside of the points, down to P11, but now Extra Evolution's getting ahead of Banana Cake Pie into P3. He goes. Spilly and Zeffy have also swapped positions. So now Spilly up into P5, full racing point. Toddy's right there as well, trying to make a move on Swaggy. They're going to go side by the looks of it, heading into turn 3. Down the short straight they go. So much action happening on track, we can't keep up with it. Heading into turn 3, the Williams will have the inside line. They make contact now. Does Swaggy and Tots. Swaggy didn't leave him much room on the initial part of the corner, so he got forced out wide, and he's going to drop back behind Crossy now. Is Todster, sorry, not is Swaggy, I should say. I'm going to swap this over to position change so we can see who's up the most spots. It's currently Banana Cake Pie up in P4 at the moment, who's still yet to make a pit stop, but obviously he is on that medium compounded tyre. Crossy's just got himself a 3-second time penalty as well for corner cutting multiple times in this Grand Prix. There's another yellow flag in Sector 3. Who's that for? It looks like that's Server Knight, unfortunately. Has now had to come into the pit lane. Must have a little bit of front wing damage on that car, so unfortunately for him, his race is over, and it looks like he has retired from the session. So unfortunately for him, he will not be getting any points here in his first race of the Pacific Series. Sorry about that. But the top 3 are actually pretty spread out. Top 4, I should say, all pretty spread out at the moment. Aaron's got a 2.8 second lead ahead of Zach Crichton. He's currently just outside of a second between himself and Extra Evolution. Spilly's holding on to P4 at the moment. Ahead of Banana Cake Pie, Todster, Zeffy, Crossy, Swaggy, BK Plebs, 40, and Dr. Dre, who just swapped positions. 40 getting himself up into P12 for Ferrari. Jay Schmidt's right there as well for Racing Point. Is he going to be able to make a move here on the Red Bull car? Then they head into the penultimate corner. You can see it's really Jay Schmidt there, really struggled there with that dirty air effect. He will have slipstream though on Dr. Dre, but I don't think he'll be able to get the move done, as it looks like Remy Alonso now is trying to make a move on not Extra Evolution, Toads Rudy into P15. He now goes, but it looks like a couple other moves are going to be made. Swaggy's now left the session, so unfortunately for him, he's going to be dropping positions here. He's going to need to rejoin the session to make sure he doesn't lose too many spots. But now 40 gets himself up into P11. So does Dr. Dre up into P12. But Spilly's now got ahead of Banana Cake Pie as well. Totsa will be the next victim of that Red Bull car. Crossy MP7. So Crossy's not doing too bad here at the moment. He's up a few positions so far for Ferrari. He's currently the lead Ferrari after 40's little error or little incident he made with Zeffy, I do believe. But Zach's trying to edge that gap down between himself and Aaron. He's pulling in about 1 to 2/10 of a second a lap. But now, unfortunately for him, he's got Extra Evolution behind him as well. He is within a second, so he will have DRS available to him. But I think if Extra Evolution was smart here, he would just leave it in none and just try and keep within that slipstream and DRS of Zach Crichton. You can see he has not much ERS available to him, nor does Zach. Aaron has a little bit more compared to the two drivers behind him. Spilly's going to try and catch up as well. Obviously, that's going to be pretty hard for him with the setup that he's running. But Banana Cake Pie in P5 at the moment. Surprised he hasn't made a pit stop yet as the drivers now start lap 21 of the Grand Prix. He's going to let Todster go by. Is Banana Cake Pie, so up into P5 goes the Williams driver. Haven't seen any predictions in the chat either, so how many penalties does everyone have? I'll check that for you in a sec, Steve-Ben, but I've just looked back at the incident. The Haas was on the left of the Ferrari, and the Ferrari turned left a little, and that was how he spun. Yeah, okay, so I'm not too sure. We'll have to leave that for the stewards. But unfortunately, it looks like now Banana Cake Pie has come into the pit lane, so the Red Bull driver now into the pit box. Plebs has also just got himself a 3-second time penalty. So is Schmidt and Toes Rudy. So unfortunately for them, they will all be getting themselves penalties. You can see Extra Evolution's caught right up to the rear now of Zach Crun. You'll be trying to push Zach ahead now, trying to catch up to Aaron L304 in front. Zach's gaining it around 1/10 of a second each lap, so it's not going to be enough. As they now are on lap 22 of 36 of the Austrian Grand Prix for the Race Spec F1 Esports PS4 Pacific Series Tier 1 League. So now head through the final sector, go the drivers. So it feels all spread out a little bit now. There's kind of battle pack starting to form. Zephy looks like he's starting to form a train behind him of BK Plebs 40. And Jay Schmidt's going to try and catch up. Will BK be able to make a move heading into turn 1? The Mercedes driver has a look down the inside, but he doesn't get the move done. He's got Plebs right behind him as well, and he gives him a little tap there. Does BK, so what's Plebs going to be able to do? He's going to have the Ferrari of 40 going to try and make a double move here. Could it be a triple move here from 40? He's getting dived down the inside. It's going to be a triple move. Then from 40-22. He doesn't get it done though. Unfortunately, BK came off best out of that, but there's a yellow flag. Who was that for? That was Romy Alonso. Unfortunately for him, he spun round down in P13, but that was nearly a triple move. 40 back down the inside of BKXI. Who's going to get it done? BK trying to hang it around the outside, heading through the middle sector. And 40 gets a triple maneuver done there, 100%. What a move there from the Ferrari driver. I'm actually pretty stunned he got that move done, but anyway. And L3F4 still leads away at the moment, 4.3 seconds. Separate them two ahead of Extra Evolution, who's now got ahead of Zach Crichton. So he looks like he's a little bit quicker at this stage. Spilly's trying to catch up to the rear of that battle for P2. Todd's to MP5 ahead of Crossy. BK and 40 is still going out of BK. Trying to hold on to that P7 position. Will he defend the inside line heading into the hairpin? Mercedes, he doesn't move it over. But 40 wasn't close enough to get the maneuver done heading into the hairpin. So that Ferrari car is going to sit behind him. Down this straight, he will have the arrows on. 40's got a massive tank slapper there. On the exit of the hairpin, Plebs, will he be able to get the move done now? 40 will not defend the inside line. Plebs isn't really close enough to get the move done. So he's going to be able to hold on to that position. F1 Hawk down in P18 is now into the pit lane, I do believe, for his second stop. But Aaron is now about to start his 25th lap of the Grand Prix. 11 laps will remain when he crosses the line right about now. So we'll have to see if Extra Evolution can catch up to that Red Bull in front. But Zach Ryan will probably just try and sit behind Extra Evolution if he was smart at the moment. He's up in an overtake though, so they are swapping positions a little bit here, Zach Ryan and Extra Evolution. So if they do that too much, it's just going to allow Aaron to get away. Well, they're trying to edge each other on. I think that's what we'll try and pull each other along. I think that's what they're trying to do, but it's not really working at this point. You can see now Spilly's going to try and catch up. He's catching up to F1 Hawk's Ghost car here, who has now officially been lapped in the Grand Prix. It's currently the two Ferraris are sitting in P6 and 7 ahead of BK, who's trying to get that move done on 40. They've been battling for position in P7. Plebs is trying to get himself back up
to where he was before he had that little mistake heading through the final corner. Jay Schmidt's holding on to P10 at the moment. He's up a couple of spots as well. He's up 3 spots in this Grand Prix from P13, so he's doing a pretty good job at the moment. But the driver, or the drivers, I should say, that are up the most spots at the moment are currently Dr. Dre 3000, BK, and Crossy. So all those drivers at the moment are on contention for driver of the day. But there is now 10 laps remaining in the Austrian Grand Prix. Aaron L304 leads away at the moment. He's got 2 seconds separating himself and Zach Ryan. So they are catching up now, ever so slightly. So if I was Extra Evolution here, I'd probably not try and battle Zach here. I think the smart thing to do is just not battle him. He is battling here. Oh, he's backed out of it, so he's trying to keep the momentum up here, is Extra Evolution, but unfortunately they've got to try and work together here to try and catch up to Aaron L3F4, but BK and 40 are still going at it here. BK down the inside on the Ferrari car. Will he get the move done? Players has now made contact now with Jay Schmidt. So Jay Schmidt ran way too deep heading into turn 3. There did the Racing Point driver, and unfortunately for him, he rear-ended the back of that Renault. Does he have front wing damage? I wouldn't be surprised if he does. But now 40's got back ahead of BK, so 40 will be getting pretty frustrated at the moment with BK. Just due to the fact that 40 knows that he is quick enough to be up the front, but BK really wants that position for his championship standings. Unfortunately, he's had a pretty poor start to the season, obviously being promoted up from Tier 2. And now Zach Ryan and Extra Evolution have swapped positions again, so Extra Evolution has a little bit more. Actually, no, he doesn't, so Extra Evolution and Zach Ryan are not really working with each other here, to be honest. Spilly running a pretty lonely race at the moment, MP4. Ahead of Todd's Crossy, 40, BK Plebs, Jay Schmidt, Toes Rudy, Romy Alonso, Banana K Pie, Dr. Dre, Zeffy, Pure Gold, Swaggy, and F1 Hawk. But give me 1 second, we'll quickly update you on time penalties. So far, Aaron currently has 1 penalty of 3 seconds. We'll just go through your top 3. A 5-second penalty and a 3-second penalty for Extra Evolution, and a 3-second penalty for Zach. So currently, Extra Evolution will drop behind Zach at the stage. Potentially even behind Spilly and Toddster. So we'll have to see how that ends up for him. They are definitely catching up to Aaron, but they can't afford to be battling at the moment unless Zach just wants to focus on getting that P2. And then ahead into the hairpin go the drivers. Zach Ryan just sweeps ahead of Extra Evolution there into P2. So now the Mercedes driver has a bit more ERS than Extra Evolution, so he saved it up a lot through that previous lap, so hopefully he can push on now and try and edge that gap away from Extra Evolution and close that gap to Aaron L3F4 in front of him. There's a couple of battles happening on track at the moment. Obviously this battle for P2 at the moment, and Spilly's running a pretty lonely race, but then there's this battle between Toddster and Crossy. Then 40, BK, Pleb, Schmidt are all in a battle at the moment for P7. Romy Alonso has Toes Rudy right behind him. Banana Cake Pie trying to catch up to that pack, obviously on that fresh set of soft tyres. Dr. Dre, MP14 ahead of Zeffy, Pure Gold, Swaggy, and F1 Hawk. As the drivers now start lap 29 of the Austrian Grand Prix. See Zach pushing pretty hard at the moment. He's up into high. With just in overtake, he's got that gap down to 1.5 seconds. So once he gets within DRS range, I think he will be able to edge a lot quicker. Will close that gap a lot quicker than what he is at the moment to Aaron L3F4. Crossy's now catching up to the rear of Toddster. He will have DRS down this straight. Toddy won't. Will he be able to make the move heading into turn 3? Toddster had really nice drive off the exit of turn 2. So unfortunately, Crossy just have to sit in his DRS, in his slipstream for the remainder of this lap. And you can see the differences in between ERS. Toddster on 25% compared to Crossy's 75% ERS. So Crossy can pretty much make a maneuver when he wants to, but he's got to make it pretty soon because 40's going to start catching up as well. He's got 11% ERS at the moment, has 40. So Swaggy's ghost car has now been lapped. Unfortunately, he's all the way back down to P17. He will not be taking home points in this Grand Prix. Aaron starts lap 30, so 6 laps remaining in the Grand Prix. Zach's still sitting at that 1.5 second mark as he heads sorry about that, as he heads through turn 1. Extra Evolution's now fallen off. Actually, no, he's not. He's going down the inside now. It's Extra Evolution. So, as long as they make moves on the straights, I think it's alright for them to battle. So, as long as they make the moves on the straights and not in corners, I think it will be alright for them to battle. Because it won't cost them as much time as battling. But as you can see, this cost them 2/10 of a second just doing that. So, it is actually costing them time. So, don't listen to me. I don't know anything really about this game, obviously. So currently it is still a battle between BK and Crossy for driver of the day, but Crossy is right behind Toddster at the moment, so he might be able to get the move done. On that Williams car, as you can see, he's got 95% ERS available, so will we see Crossy just absolutely send it with the last couple of laps, and BK obviously has 40 in front of him, who's looking very quick at the end stage of this Grand Prix. Schmidt just holding on 2 points at the moment. He's trying to catch up to the rear of Plebs. Five laps remain in the Austrian Grand Prix. Go back to this battle between Crossy and Todd's because this is starting to spice up now. See, Todd's had a pretty poor exit compared to Crossy F1. Will Crossy be able to get the move done? He's up in the high at the moment. Will he go down the inside of the Williams? The Williams defends the inside line bit. The Ferrari will get the move done. Williams has the inside line, but Toddster will have the better traction, but obviously that does swap to the inside line for Crossy. Toddy's trying to battle it back. He's going to have the inside line. Do they make contact? They do! And unfortunately, Toddster has spun around. It looked like Crossy gave him efficient room there, or sufficient room. So I think Toddster may have just understeered ever so slightly into the side pod of that Ferrari, but now 40's right behind him. Toddy's going to have really hot tyres, so I don't think this will be too hard of a move for 40. I personally don't think that was Crossy's fault, but anyway, I don't think it was anyone's fault, but it looks like now Zach Crine and Extra Evolution have realised they're not actually going to catch up to Aaron. So I think they can catch up to Aaron, they just need to stop battling as they start lap 32 of 36 in the Grand Prix. Let me know in the live chat, this race is still not over. Obviously, Extra Evolution has 8 seconds worth of penalties, so he's not really in this race at the moment. He's going to drop behind a couple of people at this stage. Is Aaron. You see Extra Evolution has pulled a little, Zach has pulled a little bit of a gap between himself and that McLaren driver. As Aaron's about to start lap 33, 3 laps will remain when he crosses the line. He's coming up to a little bit of lap traffic of Pure Gold. So Pure Gold could potentially give Aaron a little bit of DRS of what he needs. Aaron's doing a pretty good job at the moment managing ERS. He's currently on 50%. Zach's on 14. Extra Evolution's on 30. Spilly's running a pretty lonely race at the moment in P4. So if he can keep his nose clean with penalties, I reckon he'll be on for a podium here. Will Spilly. Crossy running a pretty lonely P5 at the moment after that little incident, but now 40 has got ahead of Toddster, so now it is currently a Ferrari 5-6 at the moment. So Crossy is looking good for driver of the day. He's up 7 spots now. Is the Ferrari driver. We're going to quickly just double check you here with penalties. So Spilly is currently on 2 warnings. Crossy has 1 penalty. He's on his last warning. 40 has 3 penalties, has 40, so he's going to be dropping down a bit. Toddster has 2 penalties and on his last warning, so we'll have to see what happens with them, as Pleb's just got himself a 3-second time penalty down in P10, so that could affect his points result here, unfortunately for the Renault driver down in P10. Obviously this little battle has been spicing up during this race, but Dr. Dre now has just got himself a 1 minute 6.9, I do believe he just set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix down in P15, so unfortunately for him, he will not be taking that extra point home, but he will take it away from the other drivers. And now Aaron has just got himself another 3-second time penalty, so I don't believe Zach has a 6 seconds worth of penalty, so this could work in Zach's favour here, but Extra Evolution is right there as well. So if I was Extra Evolution, I really wouldn't want to battle here, to be honest. I would want to catch up, because he knows he has a couple of seconds worth of penalties at this stage. Zach Crine has 3, I do believe, and Aaron is 6, I know. So Zach needs to just stay within 3 seconds and he will win the Austrian Grand Prix, I believe. Schmidt and BK are now going to go side by side, heading into the hairpin. Who's going to get the move done? BK tries to hang it around the outside, and they do make slight contact there, do the Mercedes and the pink Mercedes cars. They now head into turn 3. Go the drivers. Do they make contact? No, they don't. It looks like BK is going to have to slot back down into P9. So, unfortunately, BK's brave defensive actions are going to end here. He's going to try and hang it around the outside, heading into turn 4. He's not going to get it done. He's pretty much pushing Jay Schmidt, heading through turn 4 and 5. Plebs is right there as well to take any advantage of these two running into each other. He's going to go down the inside now. There's BKXI. So will he get the move done? Well, the Mercedes driver he is, so he's going to get it done. On the racing point, they are making contact there, but we need to point out as well, BK is on that hard tyre. He does also have DRS, but he hasn't actually opened it here. That's BK, so now he's going to go side by side now. Is Jay Schmidt heading into turn 1. He's going to hang it around the outside. He is BK. What a move there from the Mercedes driver. Plebs now will he be able to make a move on Jay Schmidt. They head into the hairpin. They're going to get 3 wide. Heading into the hairpin. They nearly do, but Plebs thinks better over it, and now the Alfa Romeo of Romy Alonso is going to try and get the move done. Does he get it done? No, they don't, but now Schmidt and BK make contact. So now Plebs has got himself back up into P8 here for the Grand Prix, and unfortunately BK has made lost a lot of ground there as the drivers start their penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. I think Schmidt may have run BK out a little bit of road there, so he could have something to talk about. Sorry, something to answer there, but now Aaron starts the final lap of the Grand Prix. Extra Evolution sits in P2, but I need to point out as well, he just got himself another 3-second time penalty. Did Extra Evolution, so Zach could potentially win this Grand Prix here if he can just sit in Extra Evolution slipstream and just gain as much on Aaron as possible. Quickly bring up the leader split. As you can see, it's 2 seconds, so he needs to do a really quick lap here. Does Zach Crichton. This is the final lap of the Grand Prix. Gonna get back to this battle between Plebs, Schmidt, Romy Alonso, and BK. BK's gonna try and go around the outside now. Heading into the hairpin. Will he get the move done? He's gonna be fast. Oh, ahead, heading into the braking zone. What does Romy do? Gives him space on exit. And he does get the move done, does BK. So, into P10 now. Goes BK. I'm not too sure what penalties everyone has, but we're going to go back to the lead of the Grand Prix. Aaron now rounds out the final corner. Don't think he's going to win this Grand Prix, but he comes across the line. On track, he will come home first, and Zach Crichton wins the Austrian Grand Prix for Mercedes ahead of Aaron L304 and Extra Evolution. Spilly gets himself onto the podium. He'll 100% be happy with that result. Will Spilly, Crossy, will he be able to jump ahead of Extra Evolution? No, he doesn't. So unfortunately for Crossy, he'll have to slot in for P5, but he's definitely going to have my driver of the day as he's up the most spots. 7 spots he ended up getting in the end. So congratulations to the Ferrari driver. Todson will come home P6 ahead of Jay Schmidt. Plebs, Toes Rudy, 40-22. Will round out the top 10, taking home 1 singular point in the end ahead of Banana Cake Pie. In P11, Romy Alonso will round out your top 12 ahead of BKXI, Zeffy, Dr. Dre will come home P15, I do believe, as he comes up to the penultimate corner. See, that's his frustration there from Dr. Dre. Pure Gold now comes up to the line to be the last of the drivers on the lead lap, I do believe. But that has been your Race Spec F1 Esports PS4 Pacific Series Tier 1 Austrian Grand Prix. Thank you guys so much for watching the stream as well. As you can see, the podium getters, congratulations to Zach Crichton, Aaron L3F4 and Spilly for taking home the podium in the end. Zach will edge out his championship lead. But as you can see, Zach Crichton took home the win in the end. I'm waiting for this. So he had 1.3 seconds in hand in the end ahead of Aaron L3F4. Spilly will round out your podium, 4 racing points. Solid job for them, that's good. Points for the constructor standings. Extra Evolution and P4 from McLaren leading. Crossy, who will round out your top 5 ahead of Todster. Jay Schmidt for racing point as well in P7. P8 will be the Renault of Plebs. P9 will be Toes Rudy and rounding out top 10 for a pretty disappointing result will be 40-22 for Ferrari. Banana Cake Pie in P11 ahead of Romy Alonso, BKXI, Zeffy, Pure Gold, Dr. Dre, Swaggy, F1 Hawk, And unfortunately, the retirements from the race will be Servanite and Very Lazy Tail. But that has been your Austrian Grand Prix for the Race Spec F1 Esports PS4 Pacific Series. Thank you guys so much for joining the stream. If you guys aren't around here, please do hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications to get notified when the stream goes live. But my name is Expert. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I will see you guys next time.